Greetings, beautiful ladies. Oh, what a night and what a time to be alive and just to experience such exciting times in our generation and to celebrate Women's Month. The Women's Month is a privilege to us as women, and I am so excited that we are celebrating it. Other Africa has given us this platform, and there are a whole lot of other sponsors that have joined in to just say, ladies, we love you and we want you to excel. So we're giving you more gifts just for being part of this conference. So this is Nontuthuko Kumete, and this will be broadcasted on the channel Yeah Show, but not as yet in the future once the Women's Month is over. Just to start off today, I just have this a poem. I don't know who wrote it. Actually, it's when I googled it, it was saying unknown. So I hope you're gonna enjoy it. It's just for you ladies. It says, just in case nobody told you, you are beautiful, you are loved, you are needed, you are strong, you are enough, you are not a victim. No matter what you have been through, you are still here. You may have been hurt, challenged, betrayed, beaten, and discouraged, but nothing has defeated you. You are still here. You may have been delayed, but you're not denied. You are not a victim, but you are a victor. So I would just like to greet you with those words that no matter what happens in your life, you are not a victim, you are a victor. You were born to conquer, you were born to shine, you were born to excel, you were born to be everything that God has created you to be. So before we start, before I welcome our guest, I'll just like to thank you for your continued support and for tuning in the previous 2 weeks when we were talking about mental health, and last week when Kollega Zama was talking about the power of rising up. So yes, I've been getting positive feedback that you ladies are really enjoying the sessions. Today we are doing accelerating in your career with Nontuthuko Mgabhi. She was previously my guest on the podcast and the people loved her. I'm actually surprised there's someone who is her #1 fan who has not logged on as yet. Like, she saw the picture and then she got so excited that Nontuthuko is going to be with us. So before I welcome Nontuthuko to the stage, I'd like to acknowledge our sponsors. Our sponsors are, and I will tell you ladies what they have in store for you, because there are so many prizes that can be won. Okay, our main sponsor is Mgabhi Africa. It's this t-shirt that I'm wearing. It is from Mgabhi Africa. It only costs 120, by the way. You can get yourself one. So Mgabhi Africa has got 3 divisions. There's business solutions, there's fashions, which is a t-shirt, and then there's events. And then Mgabhi publishes the book, Some Women Live on High Heels, that you ladies have received. That's another sponsor, the main sponsor of the event. And ladies, Women in Business has joined in. They're giving away a whole course. There's an e-preneur course that they're running now and the following month. So they're giving away a ticket to one lucky person that will do, I'll tell you what you need to do to win all these prizes. So it's a reboot course, e-preneur. It's already started 2 weeks ago, but you can still join. So they're giving away a ticket to that. Lutando Graphics is giving away services to actually, if you need a card or a poster, so they're giving that away. Snekaya Publishers is giving away 2 books. They're a publishing company. Wins Fashion, there's a nice neck piece and a mask and a nice scarf, which you can use as a duke, that they are giving away. It's for the price of 150. Empowerment Podcast is also giving one of the lucky ladies an exclusive interview. Mamlondela Manyati is selling Forever Living products, and she's giving away a whole C9 pack. I'm sure you must go on social media and check all these things because they are actually pictures. So it's so exciting. Deco Made Personal is giving away a gift box with all the nice treats for the ladies. Donna Intena Fashions. Actually, Cherise, I must thank you for this idea because I thought about it, but I didn't put it out there. And then you called me and you said you want a sponsor. So thank you for bringing this to life. So she's a fashion designer and She'll give you discounts in whatever you want to make with her. Hamasha is also giving you a gift box. Food by the Gift will organize some lunch for you. KV Faye is giving away 3 books of her, 3 copies of her book. It's called Undreamt Reality. And Ekaya Beauty Professionals is also giving away some beauty spa thing. It's a voucher. So they've got a voucher for us. So ladies, for you to be able to win, you must just go on social media and follow all these sponsors and comment and tag only 5 friends and just let them know about what's happening. And another sponsor is Women Dynamic Exclusive. They're giving away a ticket to their event, which is on the 18th of September. So it's so exciting, ladies. I'm so happy that you have an opportunity to win any of these prizes. So just go to our sponsors page where you see the poster, just comment and tag your 5 friends. So I don't want to talk too much because this is not about me. It's all about our guest, our super exciting lady of the moment, who is in the field of HR, who will help us on how to accelerate in our career. Nontuthuko, welcome to the Aba Africa Women's Conference. It's the 3rd one, and we're so honored that we can actually host you. I'll just hand over to you.
Thank you very much, Nompilo. Greetings once again to you. And ladies, if by any chance there's a gentleman on this call and I am not acknowledging him, I would say, please apologize. But ladies, first and foremost, happy Women's Month. What a joy and a privilege really to actually have a month where we reflect on women who went before us, the shoulders which we are all standing on. And for me, I always say it's really quite a challenge, because me and you are enjoying the privileges that we are enjoying, because no matter how unequal the society is, but we have made significant strides. And these were the sweat of women who went before us, who planted a tree and never got an opportunity to sit under the tree. That is why I always remind myself that Nontu, you are your grandmother's wildest dream. Some of the things, if my grandmother were to wake up from the grave and see what I do, I have no doubt, no matter how much domesticated she was, no matter how much she was made to believe that a man is superior to her, I'm sure she'll be proud of having broken the ceiling, challenged the status quo. And hence, I always say to women, always know that you are your mother's and your grandmother's wildest dream. And I think that goes with a lot of responsibility as well, because the question then becomes, the 5-year-old girl today, or even the ones that are unborn, what are we going to leave for them behind? We want to pass on the baton. And the things that they will do, if we ever wake up from our graves, when we see them do them, we should actually have a smile and say, wow, we planted this tree. We might have never had an opportunity to enjoy the shade. That's the whole point of life, isn't it? Because we didn't come on earth to take, but really the sole reason for my existence and your existence is to make the world a better place. As I continue with my talk, I will also talk about the world owes us nothing, but we owe the world everything. All the universe that has to do is to make sure that your spirit is still attached to you. You're still breathing. Even much better now, we are breathing without an aid of an oxygen. COVID-19 again reminded us that the things that we often take for granted, the things that we take small and small, they big in nature. Many people were in hospital and are still in hospital, fighting for every breath. Every breath is a struggle. But me and you, we really breathe freely and normal. And really the world owes us nothing, but we owe the world so much. As I'm about to really talk about a career and how to accelerate your career, I just want to start by saying this. I think it's important that I say it. Your self-worth is not attached to your career. Always know that. So whether right now in your career you are fully fulfilled, happy about what you have achieved, or not so happy, you feel your peers are ahead of you, just remember that your self-worth should never be attached to your career. In fact, your self-worth should never be on the table. Always resist the temptation of putting your self-worth on the table. That if I don't achieve this, therefore it means I am like this. That is a slippery slope. It's a path you don't want to go there. So always know that your self-worth is not attached to your career. But I just want to talk about a career. What is exactly a career? First and foremost, a career is not a job. If you are a type that wakes up every morning and say, I'm just hustling to make ends meet, to pay bills, you have not yet found a career. And unfortunately, it is impossible to succeed doing a job you do not love. Let me repeat this. It's almost impossible to succeed when you're doing something that you do not enjoy. Therefore, your first challenge would be to reflect and think about, what is it that you love doing? I love the Japanese expression when they say ikiga. Ikiga, all of us, we came on earth to find our ikiga. I consider myself very privileged to have found my ikiga, doing that which I love, doing that which the world needs, and being paid fairly for doing it. I repeat, we all are ought to find our ikiga. This is a Japanese expression of basically saying our duty on earth is to come here and do what we love, what the world needs, and be paid fairly for it. Because let us be honest, poverty is not glamorous. So we want to be paid fairly for what we do because we deserve it and we are worth it. And again, while we're talking about being paid fairly for what we do, it's a subject of its own. As women, often we are shy to charge what we are worth. I'll give you an example. And I'm saying this because I did actually have a conversation with, there are two ladies that we invited at work for Women's Day. And I said, let us invite champions. As you know, we had Olympic Games in Tokyo that took place just last month, and in Japan. And we all were quite excited about the performance that we saw. And as you know, being an Olympian, it's really, call it the highest point, a summit point for every athlete. So I was quite thrilled. And I said to the team, please invite these two ladies and ask them how much they will charge us. They're Olympians. So we were expecting really that they will charge us like really what they're worth. I'm not going to say a lot, but I was expecting that they will charge us what they're worth. An hour, they can charge us 30,000, 50 if they like. You're an Olympian after all. If you think about the hours you put in training, I'm not an Olympian. I'm an ultra or long distance runner, an average runner, but I appreciate the hours that you put in training. As we speak, in fact, I'm in Hawick tomorrow. I'm running an ultra marathon, 75 kilometers, as I prepare for my marathon in Morocco next month. So I appreciate very well the hours that goes into training. And here I'm talking about an adventure runner like myself who runs for the thrill of it as well as making an impact. So you can imagine an Olympian. Maybe some days they put in straight 7-10 hours of training. I was quite surprised that they actually quoted us 1,000 Rand each. I then gave them a call. Why you are charging us 1,000 Rand? I said, because we don't charge for speaking. I said, from today onwards, you charge for speaking because you are an Olympian. And why I say this, because very often as women, we are very shy to charge what we are worth. Why? Because we have been sold lies that we are second citizens and that a place that we belong in, it's either an administrative role, a support role, not a leading role where we command, where we are paid lucrative bonuses that we are worth. And very often, we're also very shy to negotiate. When we are given an offer, we just take it as if the world is doing us any favor. When we have what it takes, when we are giving the world our best. So very often, we really are our worst enemies. And I can't really 100% blame ourselves, although only us can get ourselves out of that. Having said that, it is, of course, the boundaries that the world has put around us, as well as South Africa is a very interesting country because it's got a very interesting history of apartheid and patriarchy. And the one of patriarchy is a dangerous one because we are not often vocal about it. The one of apartheid, racism, we are very, very vocal about it. We challenge it. And as a result, we are making some significant strides, although there's a lot to be done. But the one of patriarchy, I think the society did an amazing job of domesticating us. Some of us, even today, still believe as women that they have to be submissive to a male authority. They still believe that they are not equal to men. They still feel ashamed if they earn more than their husbands. They still feel they need to give the society the impression that everything that you see here in the house, it was done by the men of the house. When you do that, ask yourself, what message are you sending to your girl, your daughter? Because you can tell them all you like, that my girl, you are powerful, you can achieve whatever you want. But you know what? Kids learn by seeing. If mom comes back from work and dad comes back and sits on the sofa waiting for mom to cook, wash dishes, do schoolwork with the kids while dad is sitting there, you are basically saying to your girl child, the world must serve a man. When your child sees you exhausted, forever exhausted, they internalize and normalize exhaustion. Gender-based violence is a reality, and it's a serious reality, and we cannot blame women for it. But what also drives gender-based violence is because women have been taught so well how to stay in relationships that do not serve them. They stay until they meet their grave. So coming back to the actual topic. So when we talk about a career, we are not here talking about a job, just something that you do to pay your bills. If you still find yourself in that situation, of course, I'm not saying wake up tomorrow, send your resignation. And because the question is who's going to pay those bills, because those bills will still be waiting for you. But I would like to challenge you to contemplate on your life, reflect on your life as to what is it that you love doing? And what is it that the world needs? And what is it that you can be paid fairly for it? I consider career like wealth. Why I consider it as wealth? Because it needs you to invest in your career. Very often we make a mistake of believing that people who will propel our careers are our bosses. Our bosses will support our careers, but we are the ones who have to invest in our career. It's like when you invest, you cannot build wealth without investing. And a career does need some form of patience. In other words, the fact that now you have studied a master's degree does not necessarily mean that then now you'll be promoted, but you've done the right thing by investing in yourself. I just want to talk about also part of what you earn. is for you to invest it back to yourself. I'm going to talk about money for a moment. Many of us, we actually spend everything that we earn, and we're left with nothing to invest back to ourselves. Let me share with you, ladies, that the only biggest investment in life is investing in yourself. It yields dividends that I cannot even start to articulate. Some of the causes I've done, I have paid for myself. If I feel that this cause, I love it so much, why not? I've went to workshops that I believe that they might not be even work related, because that's another thing. A biggest mistake you can also make is the one of limiting yourself to what your university certificate says you are qualified as. For example, my certificate says master's degree in psychology. And guess what? Like Nombilo said, I'm in HR. Yes, I'm a registered industrial psychologist, but I'm not practicing as a psychologist. I'm an HR practitioner. And I'm a long distance runner who runs for a cause. And I'm a property investor. So what I'm trying to say is, gone are those days whereby you want to limit yourself to what your certificate says. Reflect on what are your talents? What is your interest? What do you enjoy doing? What does the world need? Some of us, their true destiny is actually not connected to what we studied. And that doesn't mean that you wasted money with that degree. Remember, after all, any form of qualification, it's not about whether it's psychology or marketing. Because anyway, by the time you finish your degree, theories have changed. The theories I learned when I was in school, they've changed now. New theories, they've been found false, and new theories have emerged. But what a qualification does, it teaches you how to think creatively, critically, and how to come with solutions. So it teaches you a certain pattern of thinking. Hence, what qualification you have is really not relevant. So be flexible also. Some of us really, we tend to think within the box of what you had studied. I also want to highlight that often when we think about career, we get too obsessed about climbing the corporate ladder. Whilst that is great, by all means, that is great, and that will come. I'll tell you how it will come. But also do look at a career like a jungle gym. A jungle gym whereby you move from this circuit to the next, to the next, to the next. And it basically challenges different muscles in your body. It's like when you cycle, it challenges different muscles than when you swim, than when you run. But all of these muscles need to be challenged for you to grow fully. So it's okay sometimes to accept offers that are a lateral move, which are within the same band or level in your organization. It does not mean that you are not progressing, because you will be learning something new, especially when you are young. Be concerned about learning, because earning will come. Remember, we spend generally a quarter of our lives learning, and a quarter earning, and a quarter giving back. So it is impossible not to earn when you have learned. So do approach your career as a jungle gym. Why I say this? Because if you have too much anxiety, you will end up not growing. You will attract that which you fear the most. I do not know how this happens. Have you been in a situation whereby, let's say there's a glass of water in front of you and you are worried that it's going to drop? And before you even finish the thought of the water, and it drops. Because as we live, we are sending signals to the world. And when you are worried, you are sending a message that I already lack. That is why most of my prayers don't have requests, but they have gratitude and thanksgiving. Because when you express prayers of gratitude and thanksgiving, you are telling the universe that I already have enough. and it only gives you more. I am dead honest. I don't remember when last I had a request. Why also I don't do many prayers of request? Because I just simply believe that the universe already knows everything that I need, and it will come when the time is right. You know, when there's a word that says, when the time is right, I the Lord happen. So that means if it hasn't happened, the time is not right yet. So why should I obsess when I know that when it's the time for my flight to take off, it will take off. For now, I'm just waiting at the border gate for the right time for my flight to take off. Have you ever seen a person waiting at the border gate for their flight to Germany looking all kinds of worried? No, because your boarding ticket is telling you that your flight will take off in 4 hours. So what you have to do is just chill. But in your chilling, when it comes to career, you don't chill and do nothing. I always say, make sure that you are always ready so that you don't have to get ready. Things change so fast. If you haven't realized that change is one thing that is inevitable, hence you must always be ready. Number one, I always say, know part of your boss's job. Be qualified for what your boss's job is requiring, or whatever your next level you want to go to. Always have the right qualification that's needed. When there's a task, always raise your hand, even when you're not sure how to be done. Let me tell you, 99% of people who start the race, they finish the race. What does that tell you? That the magic is in the starting. 99% of people who start the race, they finish the race, because the magic is in the starting. So why wait patiently? Because if you are too irritable about the next move, you're really going to be an unhappy businesswoman or unhappy employee, because you are too irritable about the next move instead of mastering your craft, excelling in what you do. And another thing that I just want to also talk about, I've highlighted about make sure that part of what you earn is invested back to you. Let us really go back. If you've got too much debts that are preventing you from investing in yourself, I challenge you to actually have a look at your lifestyle. I honestly believe that all of us, myself included, we can live on half of what we have. In other words, if you're driving a car that's worth 400,000, you can drive a car that's worth 200,000 and still be okay. If you're living in a house that's got 5 bedrooms, you can live in a house that's got 3 bedrooms and be okay. Because it's important that part of what you earn is for you to keep, and part of it is for you to invest back to yourself. We cannot beat about the bush. If you are wasteful with your earnings, you won't be happy, even if you were a CEO, because even CEOs that are wasteful about what they earn, they are not happy either. So you might find that part of your unhappiness, maybe about your career, emanates from financial issues, which you have to solve, no one else. So we ought as also ladies to be honest and truthful with ourselves. We have to fix our own crown. We actually do exactly that. A second point is mind and body is very connected. It is almost impossible to have one of the two not working and then have an okay life. What do I mean about that? If your mind is not well, your body will not be well. If your body is not well, your mind won't be well. So what I'm trying to say is invest in having a well body. Once we've spoken about the right qualification, investing in yourself, studying books, etc., invest in your health and your fitness. Ladies, let me just highlight this. The only place will never depart or vacate from or take a break from is your body. Let that sink for a moment. You may take a holiday and leave your house. You may take a holiday and leave your kids. Have assigned to. So take care of your physical body. Exercise, take a walk. There are three things. I know you have covered mental health, but there are three things to improve your mental health. And without a good mental health, it is almost impossible to have a flourishing career. Three things you need. 1, eat well. 2, have enough sleep. 3, exercise regularly. And these are the things that are non-negotiable for a sound mind, because a body results into a sound mind. And also a sound mind does tell the body that you can't be eating this much, you can't be eating this junk, you can't be having insufficient sleep, sleeping at 11 o'clock and hoping that you're going to be having a productive day. If you don't sleep at night, you sleep at work. And who's going to promote someone who's sleeping at work? When I say sleeping, I don't necessarily mean dozing off, but I mean being unproductive. So therefore, make sure that you also invest in your body. I do challenge you. I'm not saying do crazy adventures, run marathons, but do diarize and prioritize exercise at least 3 times a week. Do prioritize your sleep, 8 hours a day. Do prioritize eating well, eating at home and eating well. What you do when you are not at work also plays a big role in accelerating your career. For me, part of my rest is reading a book. Like now, because I knew I'll arrive early in Howick, I brought my book. So when I am relaxing, I read a book. Those are some of the things that I do. When I'm relaxing, I could be going through maybe reading about a topic that interests me, or things that interest me, or I'll be taking a walk, or exercising, or meeting a friend over coffee, a friend for a reason over coffee. So all I'm saying is, when you are not at work, I mean, you may start work at 7:30 to 4:30. The time before work and the time after work, also consider what you do. Some of your habits that you do before and after work actually positively impact your work. For me, I wake up at 4:30 and go for a run. That sets the tone for my day. It lifts my mood. I'm likely to have a happy day. After work, now that I'm training for marathon dress-ups, I do run. But if I do not run after work, I'll be reading a book. I'll be making a call to a significant other, be it a friend, be it a parent, be it a mentor, because it is important to actually do things that support you. I want us to actually normalize reading. You learn so much. Reading accelerates you as a person, because you get to actually live in someone else's world without even having met the person. So do buy a book. Every month, make sure that you read a book. I want to also talk about reciprocity. Always aim to give more than you receive. What I mean about give more than you receive. Often when we are obsessed about career growth, or when we're thinking a lot about career growth, we always look for opportunities or look for connecting with people that we think can help us quickly achieve what we want to achieve. And we may end up appearing as selfish. So let's just go against that. Even when you have a mentor, don't only take from the mentor. also look at what you can also give. I mean, I'll give you an example. I'm sure most of you do know Judy Dlamini. When I met her for a mentorship session, I decided, I'm going to buy her happy socks. I mean, happy socks, it's just like 130 rands, you know? And she was just so thrilled. And I did that purposefully so. It was my opportunity to give back. You know, you can obviously appreciate a person of the caliber of Judy Dlamini. You might easily think, she's the richest woman in South Africa. What would she need? No, stop that mentality of believing that you are the only one who needs, others don't. So when you have even a mentor, nurture those relationships. Find a way of giving. Remember, each and every person appreciates kindness. If what you have to give is kindness, great, give that kindness. That strengthens relationship and ensures the durability of relationships instead of a relationship that is a take. We all also know that we don't appreciate friends who call when they need something, you know, never a call of how are you. So while I know as we are looking forward to grow our career, we may easily fall into a trap of always looking for opportunities to take instead of also looking for opportunities to give. We often think that people, especially those that can mentor us, who are executives, we often believe that we can give them nothing when we actually can give them also something in return. And that could be really listening, because they also humans. They may have a parent that's got COVID, and it's your opportunity for this session to be the one listening more or the one assisting with a certain advice. Try to have a mutual relationship even when the other person is senior to you. Don't fall into a trap of thinking that, if a person is senior to me, I therefore, I'm not in a position to give anything. And take time also to reflect on your career, whereby you ask yourself questions such as, am I happy about where I am in my career? What needs to change? What's working and what is not working? Part of our problems is because we do not spend time with ourselves and reflecting on our lives. It is true that a majority of people tend to simply exist instead of living. So do prioritize taking a weekend, at least one weekend a month, where you take your notebook and a pen. You sit down, you reflect on where you are in your life, contemplate on your life. Solitude is very important. I know we live in a time of social media. The feeling of having to constantly post. It's okay just to sit with yourself and spend time within yourself. And I always say, be your biggest cheerleader. We often fall into a trap of either looking backward or looking too much ahead and miss out on the present moment. Ladies, the only moment that we truly have that's guaranteed to us, it's actually the present moment. But we spend a lot of time, maybe 70% of our time, obsessing about what will happen next year. What would be my next move? Or regretting the past. I should have done this, I shouldn't have done that. And missing out on the present moment. Normalize spending time in your present moment. Truly, truly embracing what you have. And do everything that you do from a space of gratitude. Many of us, ladies, the things we have now are the things we once prayed for. So let's take time to really indulge in the things that we already have. And by no means to say, do not plan about the future. But it is also to say, the present moment, just as is good. And every good thing comes from a good space. So don't over obsess about tomorrow. Because again, tomorrow is not guaranteed, but today, just this moment with me now is the moment that is real, right? It's happening, it's guaranteed. Whereas tomorrow morning is not that guaranteed. As much as I shared with you that tomorrow I'll be running 75 kilometers, but who knows if I'm going to wake up. But right now, as I'm with you, I'm fully here and I'm just enjoying being with you. I'm just enjoying sharing this information with you. So even in our careers, let us also master our craft. Be the hardest working person in the room. Show up every day fully. And be your biggest cheerleader. Look in the mirror and say, I'm feeling good. I'm great. I'm capable. And always bet on yourself. And I always say, when I'm betting on myself, I double down because I have that assurance that I am capable of doing it. Therefore, I'm prepared to put down more money for myself. Because you never lose by betting on yourself. So very often we want to believe that people will help us, but really, after all, everything you need already exists within yourself. And find the career of happiness. I want to talk about the career of happiness. Why I talk about the career of happiness? Because it's so misleading to think that when you are a manager, you're going to be happy. Or when you are an executive, you're going to be happy. Ladies, enjoy the ride. Let me tell you something. The joy is in the process, not destination. Reflect about that big holiday that you were excited about. After it happened, the mood went down. If you recall, the biggest joy was on days leading up to that holiday. So always enjoy the process, because the truest joy is found in the process, not the destination. Often after or during the holiday, you realize that this happiness is fading away. So hence, do not focus too much on the destination. Enjoy the ride, enjoy every moment, because the journey itself is the destination. Think about that. The journey itself is the destination. I mean, right now, I'm training hard for Marathon Desserts. I'm packing, I'm getting my gear right, I'm testing my food, because I'll be carrying all my sleeping material, my clothes and my food for the entire 250 kilometers. This is quite exciting for me. And this moment right now of putting in hard work and training is actually more exciting than the 24th of September, when I will be hopping onto that plane to Morocco. Why? Because it is actually the process that builds the character. Right now, all of my weekends, every Saturday, I put in 8 hours of running, and Sunday, 8 hours of running. I work hard. I build discipline. I build commitment. Commitment is to stay true to that which you said you will do long after the mood has left you. It is the process that builds you, not the destination itself. So allow your character to be cemented, to be grounded by the process of hard work itself. No hard work is ever in vain. So I just love that, I remember last weekend, it was raining. So I had planned to do a sand run. And it was raining, and my plan was this weekend, I want to actually run a total of 16 hours. And I was like, wow, it's raining. How will I do this? I looked myself in the mirror, literally, and I said, Nontu, you can do hard things. I just want to leave you with that motivation. When you're doubting yourself, or when the conditions are not great, look yourself, take the mirror, look yourself in the mirror and say, I can do hard things, and go out and do those hard things. I tell you, I looked myself in the mirror. It was 4:30 in the morning. I said, Nontu, you can do hard things. I put on my rain jacket. I went for a run, because I can do hard things. Why don't you trust yourself with hard things? Why you only want to trust yourself with small, easy stuff? Why? When you can do hard things. Lastly, I just want to say, let go of your early career disappointments. Some of us have gone despondent because maybe they early on didn't have, the kind of bosses they wish they had. They didn't get opportunities they believed they deserved. Someone else got a job who was not even qualified or experienced for it. I just want to say, let go of those disappointments. There is a beautiful story of letting go that I really love that I would like to share with you. It's a story of, there were two monks. Monks are men who have dedicated themselves to living a spiritual life. Often they will separate themselves from their families and they will not be in an intimate relationship. They will just live a life of serving God. Basically, it's almost like nuns, but it's men. So it's monks. So there were two monks who were walking. As they were crossing the river, there was a young lady who was wearing a white dress. So as per the tradition of monks, you don't touch a woman, like I've said, because they've dedicated themselves to God. So one of the monks, the older monks, decided, let me help this lady, because it was windy and it was river, and she was wearing a white dress, and it was a river, and then he decided to carry her across the river. And he did that. They continued to walk, the monks. The lady went on to go on with her journey, and the two monks continued to walk. About 4 hours after the older monk had helped the lady cross over, the younger monk said, brother, why did you carry that young girl across the river? Because we as monks aren't supposed to do that. The older monk looked at the younger monk and said, brother, I've put the girl down long time ago. Why are you still carrying her? Heed the message there. In life, you ought to put some things down. You don't have to carry them 4 hours later. You don't have to carry them a year later, 3 years later, 4 years later. Put some stuff down. You know why you need to put them down? Simply because they are heavy. And that's a good enough reason. So if you find yourself having some resentment, either it's your colleagues at work or your boss or your own organization, look, whatever happened, put it down for one simple reason, because it is heavy. And I promise you, the day you let go of the things that are weighing you down, you're going to shine your brightest. Ladies, I wish you all the best in your career. All I have to close with is just to remind yourself that you can do hard things. Next time, when there's an opportunity, even the one that you think you are not qualified for, raise your hand, lean in, because you can do it, because you can do hard stuff. Thank you very much. Thanks, Nombilo. Back to you.
Wow, what a presentation. We can do hard things. Oh, but the part about putting things down, Nontu, thank you so much. Thank you so much. Someone actually texted me via WhatsApp. Maybe they're scared of asking the question themselves. Uh, Thank you so much, Nontuthuko. Thank you for honoring this invite. And thank you so much for those wise words. Guys, I'm writing, my notebook is now full, like the whole page. And it's just so much. You touched in different places that are so relevant. And it was really amazing. Thank you so much, Nontuthuko. Oh, where do I start? Okay, let me ask that question, and then you ladies can raise the hands, and then I'll give you a go so that you can also ask Nontuthuko some questions. So the question is, how can you solve the problem of female leaders having a pull head down syndrome? This person was asking, because you said as women, you mentioned the part of women not being scared to take up those big positions. But what if you have someone who is your leader, but they're just trying to pull you down? I don't know if they were covered when you said you must just put it down. But what do you have to say to female leaders that are actually not supporting their fellow females? That actually, I've heard so many people comment about this, that it's better to report to a male than to report to a female, because another female doesn't want people to grow. What do you think of that, and what do you have to share on that, Nontu?
Thanks, Nopelo. It's a very good question, and I want to believe that it's actually valid and it does happen. There are two sides to it. Side number one is that we also must appreciate that, you see, even as young girls at home or in our society, we are so domesticated to actually compete with one another on beauty, who's the princess. So the society does an amazing job to actually make us be each other's competitors.
Yes.
And more so, the scarcity of resource creates this environment of survival of the fittest.
Sure.
And also the media of hyping first female to do this, first woman to do this. I always say it's okay to be first, but it's not okay to be the only one.
That's so profound.
It is okay to be first, but it is not to be celebrated to be the only one. So you've got this element of, because you absolutely, Nambila, you find, unfortunately, because our awakening comes at different moments.
Yeah.
Nompilo might have been awakened about the empowerment of women and the equality of women to men. But Nontu she might have not yet awakened. So also Nompilo must not do disservice to the movement. I'm now talking about women empowerment, by exposing Nontu's lack of awakening. Because by doing so, who wins? It's men.
Yeah,
who will
definitely.
say, look at Nompilo, they are each other's enemies. So if Nompilo has awakened, but Nontu has not, remember what true love does. It does hide or cover multitude of sins.
Multitude of sin,
Let me tell you this, Nompilo. Let me tell you this. I, as Nontu, will never expose a woman when she's struggling. Not because I don't see her struggling, but no, I will be abandoning the work. Remember, we don't have to finish the task on the same day, but we are also not free to abandon the work.
Yeah.
So I want to say, whomever that feels that the boss is pulling her down, appreciate she hasn't awakened. Don't also overexpose her, because by so doing, it's men who win, not us.
Exactly.
On the other hand, also do reflect on, are you also taking what she's doing too personal? Because of maybe your elements of also socialization, of being easy when you're managed by men, but not so easy when you're managed by women. Because there is also that element whereby if it was a man asking you to do this, a man that you report to, he will have no reason. But when it's Nompilo, and then Nompilo is cheeky. So there's some internal work that also needs to be done. And then there's also some understanding work that also needs to be done, also in understanding the other lady that has not awakened. Like I say, awakening comes at different time because our childhood traumas are not the same. What we have been through is not the same.
Sure. Yeah. Thank you so much, Nontuthuko. Miss G, you've got a question for Nontu. You can go ahead.
Good evening, Nampilo. Good evening, Nontu. Wow. Wow. Thank you so much. What an amazing message. You're building us up, actually. I've got 3 points that I would like to make. I actually made a mention on the chat that actually you're one of the polymaths that I've just met. I meet a lot of male polymaths. Polymaths are people who have 3 or more occupation or careers or qualifications. So I like that about you. So well done. And then number 2, when you started your session, you mentioned that as women, we must always make sure that whenever we get invited, we must always charge. And I felt I felt very bad because I usually get invited by different people from different background. And then usually I look at the background and then you find that those people, they actually looking for somebody to come and mentor them, but they don't have anything to give back in return. And then I always do it for free. And then my husband always asks me, but are you getting paid? No. Even sometimes when he drives me there, he's like, oh, but even they can't even give you petrol. And I said, no, there's no need. I don't know how many times I do it for free. So it's just like, you're shooting at me. And then the third one is, when are we going to have a session where we're having, this is to you and Nompilo, where we're gonna have a woman coming to speak to us, a woman from a rural area who doesn't actually have what you call a career, a mother who wakes up to take care of the kids, who wakes up to take care of the family, but that doesn't have what you call a career or a job. Because I feel like those women, they are very hardworking, but then we don't actually think, we don't think about them as people that have careers. You know, they make sure that there's food on the table, but they don't even have jobs. They don't work. They make sure that the children go to school, but they don't even have husbands. I wish this is more of a challenge. Maybe one day we need to have somebody who's going to be a speaker, don't be on your podcast on this, where we have a woman who gets celebrated for being a woman. But, you know, I feel like some of us, we were actually raised by such grandmothers who had nothing, but look at us today. And then the last point is I speak to a lot of women who come to me privately, actually crying because they are not happy at work. They are not happy with the managers. It could be male managers, it could be female managers. And then no matter what they try, they can work hard, they can give their all. You find that the person behind the scenes doesn't like this person. How would you actually advise the person? Thank you.
Thank you, Miss G. I think the last one of no matter what they've tried, it's not working. They say insanity is doing one thing over and over again, hoping for different results when you already know the results. I always say, for you to stay in any environment, either you must want to stay, but they don't want you to stay, or they want you to stay, but you don't want to stay. Or a third scenario is you want to stay, they want you to stay. Let me repeat that. For you to stay in any environment, it must be one of the 3 scenarios. Either you want to stay, but they don't want you there, or they want you to stay, but you no longer want to be there, or they want you to stay, you also want to stay. In an environment, if you find yourself in an environment where no matter what you do, they don't want you there, and you also no longer want it there, because no matter what you do, it's never good enough. That comes a crossroad point where you ought to do a change, because there is no career that can buy your soul. there's no career that can buy your mental health. So when you find yourself in an environment where you are not wanted, and now you no longer want to be there, it is really time to part ways. I mean, you stay in an environment if they want you to stay, even though you feel like I'm ready for the next move, then you can stay because they want you there. Or they don't want you that much, but you really still want to be there. So when you find yourself where you are not wanted and you no longer want to be there, my advice to that friend will be they have to look for another place whereby who they are will be appreciated, and they will also appreciate that environment. And always remember that all things work together for good. And maybe the time to move is really now.
Mm-hmm.
Going back to, I think the one Nombilo can take it up around getting it's a very beautiful point, because often people from villages are out of sight and out of mind. And that's one of the reasons when I do this adventure runs, I do them to actually improve educational systems of schools from deep rural villages, because I myself, a girl from a rural village of Umseleni, and I do know the challenges that they face every day. And while you were talking about women who work very hard in the rural villages to see kids through, and it does also remind us that hence we're talking about nurturing relationships, working smart, because sometimes a hard work on its own, if it's not supported by certain systems, it still does not get you that far. We know how women from rural villages are working hard. A child on the back, while in Kunda, you name it. Yes, absolutely. It's always important that we integrate and we reach out, because they are often out of sight and out of mind. And for me, I can tell you now that genius is equally distributed. Unfortunately, it's opportunities that aren't. That lady in that village who's in that situation, I'm no smarter than her. I'm just lucky I got opportunities she didn't get.
Okay, on the last one,
yes.
When you say it's time to move, but then with State South Africa, the employment rate is very bad currently, and then you find that I'm talking about professional people actually, and it's very difficult to move to another company. Even if they do apply, it's very hard. However, they are there, they are working, but it's hard. It's really hard.
I honestly believe, Gugu, that in life, if you don't want something, you either change it or fully accept it. So then the challenge for that person will be a very difficult one, because they will have to then fully accept their situation. I obviously don't know how bad the situation is, but sanity and peace of mind is superior to everything. I personally, I have a rule. If I don't like something, it has to either change or I make peace with it.
Yeah.
It no longer, when I make peace, and I make true peace, Miss Cook, I make true peace. True peace, that means it no longer bothers me. I have put the girl down, and literally I've put the girl down.
Okay, thank you so much, Ndu.
Thank you.
Nontu. Thank you so much, Miss G, for that question. It was actually very valid. Thank you so much, Nontu. You are such a powerhouse. I forgot to mention two of our sponsors. It's Temi Taylor and Umhlanga. They're also giving away a voucher. And Amber Beauty. It's based here in Scottsdale, Pietermaritzburg. They're giving a photo shoot and a face beat. So if you want to update your status on Facebook or in LinkedIn, just make sure that you go get that face beat, but follow them first. I'm handing over to Grace Mjali. Mam Nozipho, you can take over.
Okay, good evening to ladies, and a special greetings to Nontuthuko. I'm very grateful to be part of this conference through Unompido. About 3 weeks ago or so, I listened to your podcast that you did with Unompido Nontuthuko some time ago. And I liked this part of just show up. Just show up. I went to share that with my daughter, who's also pursuing her master's. And I shared with her how you succeeded as an intern. From an intern today, you are a managing director or something in government, you call it chief director or so, okay? But apart from that, I just want to say the type of work that I do, I'm in the field of employee health and wellness. And we have a challenge in terms of work-life balance. Please share with us how you promote work-life balance in your current or in your organization currently. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And you have raised a very important, thank you so much. I'm not a chief or managing director, I'm a general manager of human resources. And you have touched, Sisi, a very important point of work-life balance. This concept, it was big many years ago. And because of its complexity, it came to a point where personally, I've accepted that it's an illusion. I'll tell you why I've accepted it's an illusion, because especially these days, work and private life is integrated. Just like now, I'm in Howick for a race, but I'm doing work or a career-related work, which is talking about careers. Just like now, we're working from home. I actually sometimes do work from a resort, overlooking the sea, having my coffee with the laptop. I'm relaxing while working. And also I do when I'm at home, if there's work to be done with this work from home arrangement, if a meeting has to end at 4:30, but we all know that we working from home, it can go over to 5 o'clock. So what has become more important for me, it is to schedule rest, to schedule recreational stuff. And that is very important. For example, at work, what we have done on Thursdays, we have said people must knock off 30 minutes early on Thursday so that we can all go out for a walk or a jog. So we've got a loop at work where everyone, people who are interested, we go for a walk. And what I drive really is to say, look, this is 30 minutes. If you attach your hourly rate and look at what 30 minutes mean monetary, you don't want to lose that. So those are the some of the things we do. And obviously we encourage mental health consulting with a psychologist. We use careways. But more than anything else, we encourage people to schedule rest and recreational stuff. Because if you do not, it's often, unfortunately, a mental health and exhaustion. You only know once you're exhausted. It's almost like gaining weight. You only know you've gained weight when you have gained weight. You don't see as it piles up. So we encourage people to do such. And unfortunately, just like any organization, Sissy, there's a poor take-up, a very poor take-up, because we do not prioritize our health. We are happy to amass wealth, work hard and amass this wealth. And you know what? When we are sick, we'll be willing to sell everything we have to gain back the health that we've been neglecting. I personally, as Nontu, I prioritize my health. I will not lie to you. My health comes first because my earning ability is also attached to my health. If you don't have good health, that means you might not even be able to hold 2 jobs. These days, we believe in multiple sources of income, and you are able to do that when you are in good health. And if you're not in good health, you're compromising your health. That means a lot of what you earn will also be spent in consulting doctors, medication, because many of the things that we take medication for, there's natural remedy for those things. I always say to people, there are natural doctors like sunlight, water, sleep, those are natural doctors that we often neglect. We are quick to take down vitamin D3 instead of just saying, every day for 45 minutes, I'll be outside taking a walk so that I can get sunlight. So I think you have to really touch on a very important point, work-life balance. Work and personal life has become integrated in its integrated form, schedule rest and schedule recreational stuff. Thanks.
Hey. Oh my word, what's going on now?
Thank you so much, Nontuthuko, for answering that. Thank you, Ma'am Grace. I hope you are happy with the answer. Now I'm gonna go to Pastor L. Pastor L, you can ask Nontu a question.
Hello, ladies. Nontu, thank you so much. Wow. You are a gold mine, if I can put it like that. But I just want to ask, have you ever been in a place where you have a burnout, where maybe you felt you've given a lot and you are struggling to deliver the best quality of results? If so, how did you come out of it? If not, how do you prevent yourself from hitting a burnout?
Thanks, Pastor L. It will be difficult to fully quantify burnout and know whether it was burnout, but yes, I've been in stressful situations. Often, what I've realized when I'm in stressful situations, I often over-exaggerate the problem. Either I over-criticize myself, or I overstress, or I take things personal. There's a very beautiful book titled 4 Agreements. One of the agreements, in fact, 2 of the agreements that may answer or support this answer. One is take nothing personal. Number 2, always do your best. So when I find myself in a situation whereby I'm stressing, obsessing, in a burnout, I ask myself, Nontu, did you give your best? Could you have done anything significantly different? Of course, in life, when you ask that question, you will find a yes, but I add in the word significantly different, in a sense that I want an answer that will be honest. I'll give you an example. If you're going for an exam, I'm making an example, and you know that you were getting by with only an hour of studying a day. If you fail and ask yourself, could you have done something significantly different? The answer is yes, because you could have put in 3 hours a day. But when what's reasonable is 4 hours, and you've put in that 4 hours every day. So the answer is no. And if the answer is no, again, it means don't take it personal. Often we tend to look at the results and internalize them and identify with the results and see the results as if they are a reflection of our capabilities. Think about an athlete. Let's take Elwit. Elwit, when he ran the London Marathon, everyone was thinking, he's got this because he's the fastest man in the world. But he was beaten. I think he came number 6 or 7. If he had stayed on that low, he wouldn't have went back to the Olympics and defended his title. So what I often do is, I honestly, one thing I'm good at, Pastor L, is to put things down. When a project has not gone the way it was expected to go, I own the results. I reflect on whether I could have done better. And if the answer is yes, I note down what I could have done better and say, now I'm wiser, I know better, I will do better next time. And then I move on. But also, what helps me to prevent these episodes from happening, to be honest with you, I always seek support. The beautiful thing also, Pastor L, about being a leader is that you know that the people you have hired are people who are smarter than you, Otherwise, you wouldn't have hired them. Everyone who reports to me, I was even a lot more lucky. For me, when I got in, a number of employees were reporting to me were soon to retire. Therefore, that means I had an opportunity to actually get new people. So I hired people who are experts in their field, people who are smart, people who are knowledgeable, because I want to empower them. I want a good support structure. I don't want someone that I will hire so that I can push them around. It's my way or the highway. Then why did I hire them then? I shouldn't have had people to support me. So I rely a lot on support. And that is so important, to actually seek help. Asking for help is not a sign of weakness. Actually, asking for help saves you energy. Because when you allow yourself to oversee things instead of doing things, you see them with a fresh eye. They have done this work for you, they bring it to you, then you look with an eye that is ready to enhance it than to actually do the work, because they know the work. But when I have not done it well, I do not over-internalize, because what do you gain by allowing yourself to internalize things that didn't go well? Then it's going to change. They're not going to be well now, that because you have stressed too much about it. But burnout also, Pastor L, could be a result of you not prioritizing your health, because a burnout simply means you've been carrying too much load. Life is supposed to be, as one load piles up, the other must come down. As another load piles up, one must come down. As another, like that. So it is also important to regularly look at what is it that you need to move, maybe to another department or to another person. What is it that you need to declare as complete? Although it may not be 100%, 80% is also good enough, so that you can attend to the next item. Because otherwise, if you do not do that, you hog on things, it will actually result into a serious burnout or even really a depressive episode. Thanks.
Thank you so much. Thanks for the answer.
Thank you so much. I saw someone wrote a question in the chat. Oh, Matsidiso said she also listened to your show and about showing up, and then it helped her. But there's someone who had a question. I'm just looking for that question. I see there's no hand up, but who had a question, ladies? Oh, Miss G. Miss G, can you please just voice your question? What about what we usually do, asking people what they do for a living, and our attitude towards them depend on individual careers of who they are in life. Miss G, I don't know if that was a comment or a question. I see a question mark in the end. Okay, Grace is happy with your answer.
It was a question.
Oh, can you please just say it again so that Nontu can hear it?
Nontu, I wanted to get your views on the things that we do. I'm not sure whether it's female or male, but maybe both. We usually ask people what they do for a living, and then how we treat them or our attitudes toward them, depending on their personal careers or who they are in life. What is your view on that?
It would be very, very unfortunate to actually treat a person based on what they do in life. And yeah, that would be, I would say that person will still, that's an act of having fallen short of grace, honestly. Because you would remember, Ms. G, when I started also this conversation, I said, your career is not really a reflection of your self-worth, because who you are is your soul, and we all equal because we're all humans, we all have a soul, and we should always refrain from judging people based on what they do. You know, every work is important. And I say this without being sarcastic in any fashion. I'll give you an example. During that week of riots in KZN, when the roads were blocked and there was no petrol, etc. So at work, we use a certain contract for cleaning. I mean, super care. So Supercare could not obviously transport employees to work based on obviously their safety is number one. And I tell you, Miss G, that during that week, Millicent, who assists in our office, you know, with cleaning and stuff, I had a new appreciation of what she does. That week, because we also had to wash our cup, we had to, you know, bear the floors that were not that clean. You appreciated that I am who I am because of Millicent. Millicent is Millicent because of me. I truly had a new appreciation. I think many of you ladies here will also appreciate that I'm just using this example because often people look down upon like security guards. But
they do.
Yeah, but exactly. But during that week of riots, imagine if in a building that doesn't have a security guard, how people felt. They didn't feel safe because we needed them. Ladies, you would imagine a week or two when a lady who assists you with your child or assists you at home is not available. You realize that the things that you take for granted that she does, they take so much effort because you're not competent in doing them. So really every job, every person deserves respect because they have a big role to play. And it's not about what job they do. We are humans. And let's also remember that wheels do change.
Yes. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, ladies. We've come to the end of our show, and wow, don't limit yourself to what you've studied. That is my take home, because people always see me like now being on the Empowerment Podcast and organizing events, and they're like, but you're an accountant. So Nontu, that was so liberating for me as well to know that I shouldn't put myself in a box. I should go out there and do what is in my passion as well, like how you are doing as well. Or before we close, there's someone who's asked in the chat who can assist with handling finances as well, because Nontu also touched on finances. Someone asked about finances. Are you able to answer that question, Nontu?
Please come again, Enompilo. What's the question?
The question is, she needs help in handling her finances. How can I get financial wisdom? Do I need financial experts to set myself free from not handling my finances well? I think you covered that part about the fact that you don't have to drive a car worth 400,000 if you can afford a car that costs 200,000 can also be fine. And you said in a 5-bedroom house, you don't need 5 bedrooms. Sometimes you only need 3 or something. So I think she's from that angle that sometimes we have to downsize so that we are able to take care of ourselves. There's a point that you said we must invest back to ourselves because it yields dividends. So I think she's coming from that area, asking you now that does she need to seek an expert in finances so that she can be free, maybe debt free or something, so that she can manage her finances? Or what suggestions do you have for her?
Yes, obviously people differ, and also the level of problem differs. I do not know whether she will need an expert or not, but I'll just talk about my life. I never had to need a financial advisor because, look, I've come to realize that often financial advisors themselves need advice. Like doctors, they fear injection the most, but they're injecting us every day. for me, what worked for me was just understanding that I'm not going to make someone else rich by keeping up with the Joneses. And I don't have to impress people who mean a lot to me. Often the people we often try to impress Nompilo, it's actually people that don't care about us.
Exactly.
But they're keeping tabs on us because they're waiting for that day when they hear that Nompilo's car has been repossessed.
Sure.
So why are you impressing your haters? Because people who love you dearly, like your family members and your good friends, even if you rock up with pep sneakers, they just love your soul.
They love you
And
for you.
they love you for you. And for me, it was I want to be financially free. I want to, even if tomorrow I'm retrenched, I still want to have the freedom.
Yeah.
That's how I sorted my finances. I don't even actually, I mean, people who know me, I drive a car that I bought in June 2012, but I'm an executive. I invest my money because I want my money to grow, and I don't want to stress about money, and I don't stress about money. And I'm saying this not because I'm bragging. I'm saying this because I have mastered the art of living below my means. There's a book that I would like to recommend for everyone. And I achieved this, ladies, not automatically. I mean, when you start as an intern, oh my God, you buy a car, life is good. Suddenly you realize, by the 10th of the month, I have no money. And I got to a point where I was just angry and say, it just can't be. And I was fortunate for me because it was my very first year of working when I had this awakening. For me, it was the matter of, I'm going to live below my means. There's a book titled The Richest Man in Babylon.
Oh,
Ladies,
I've got that book. It's my husband's favorite.
That book. Ladies, it's impossible to be happy if you are living at your means. If you are earning 50,000, you're spending 50,000, and even worse if you're spending 51,000.
Sure.
It's impossible. It's impossible to be happy. Half of your problems emanate from financial issues.
Definitely.
So the day I had that awakening, ladies, that the day you solve your financial problems, over 70% of your problems will be gone. Some of your relationships have been ruined because you are so impatient and irritable with the person wasting food because you worry about money, because you don't have enough. You don't sleep well because this is not being paid, that is not being paid. Who's getting rich? It's the bank. Gone, ladies, are those times when if one buys a new car, it's a sign of wealth. It was never a sign of wealth. And we congratulate people when they're getting new cars. It's all good. But if all is done below your means, and I want to highlight this, critically look at where you live. Try to live in an average neighborhood. I'll give you an example. If you go and live in, let's say, in a Gulf estate in Palito, you are driving your 2012 June Audi like my one, you will get there and you will feel like you are the most poorest person in Zimbali Gulf estate. Because on your left, it's a 2.5 M car. On your right, it's a 2 M car. You will not feel satisfied because you have taken yourself and plugged yourself into an area of people who want to live large. Why don't you go into an area where with your 2012 Audi, you will feel the richest because others are driving a reasonable Toyota or another car like your one. It is so nice, Nompilo, to be in an environment and be the richest and not be noticed.
That is so profound. That example, Nontu, I always, we didn't take our son to private school because we didn't want him to come back to us and say, so and so, they're doing this, they're doing that. That was the reason why we were like, would like him to go there, but let us take him to a good public school where he's going to get all the sports that he needs. So what you're talking about right now resonates with me. And I'm so
And
grateful.
so
Yeah.
we traumatize our kids because you will take your son to Kesney and you're taking your son with loans.
Yes.
And your son is going to meet other kids, businessmen, businesswomen, parents who afford to take them on international trips, while yours to be left behind when going to US, and they feel like this poor thing. Whatever you do, ladies, do below. I don't even want to say within your means. Within your means, COVID showed us that if you live within your means, anything can move you to below. Always have the buffer. If the bank says you can afford an installment of 15,000 a month, buy a house that you will pay 10,000 a month. If the bank says you can afford this car, you will pay 10,000 a month, buy a car that you will pay 7,000 a month. Always live below your means. I repeat, keeping up with the Joneses is not worth your peace, your peaceful sleep. Kumnandi ukulala and not be bothered about debits.
That is so profound. Nontu, I've got one more question for you. Please, I'm begging you, if you can do this one thing for me, start writing a book. There's so much in you. There's so much the world can learn from you. Like, there's so much we've learned tonight. I don't want the session to stop, but unfortunately you're running tomorrow. So I just want to make sure that we actually finish up so that you can get some rest, because rest is also important. Like, I've got 2 pages now and I'm just so, yes, thank you. Someone is actually saying in the chat that a book, please. Yes, I'm glad I'm not the only one. There's just so much. Like, I believe you're not just career. We didn't talk about careers only today. We spoke about mental health. We spoke about finances. We spoke about like a lot, like enjoying every moment. So you've spoken to different areas of our lives, and thank you so much. I'd just like to wrap up and thank you all, ladies. Keep watching on our social media. Yes, Nompilo, she says that the car issue is a trap. Many things are trying to please everyone just because you're now permanently, I think maybe she's saying permanently employed. So much amazing. I don't know who's using iPhone, but really good stuff. It's really been an amazing session. And yes, please do that book. So ladies, please follow us on social media. We are Ava Africa. And on my page on Instagram, I'm Nompilo, and follow all our sponsors so that next week we'll announce our winners, because next week we're doing businesses. So please do tune in and tell your friends that they can still join. So to all of you ladies, have a blessed night. And thank you so much, Nontuthuko, for coming through tonight and for sharing this amazing wisdom, wise things with us. So thank you.